Warren Buffett once famously said that the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. And indeed, humans are by nature creatures of habit, which is why such a thing as a comfort zone exists. It just feels right to seemingly settle into and just be content with your lifestyle, especially if it feels like you already have most of the things you need to live relatively comfortably. And on the other side of the coin, trying new things and undertaking new responsibilities can thus feel stressful. But like Warren Buffett said, this comfort and these habits can well become the very chains that shackle one's potential. And speaking of Buffett, who is considered one of the most successful investors in the world, a skill set and responsibility that I believe everybody should possess is in fact investing, which is the act of allocating one's wealth with the goal of growing and protecting it as much as possible and equipping oneself with the knowledge and wisdom to do so. And while I believe many people acknowledge the benefits of well-managed investing for growing one's wealth, however, especially for those whom investing isn't yet part of their comfort zone, it can seem quite intimidating to get into, with not only the thought of taking risks of potentially losing money in an investment being enough to dissuade many from investing into anything but a savings account, but also there being quite a lot of concepts and terminology to learn if one is to be able to substantially understand the bulk of financial news and trends. And if you think you fall into either of these camps, or are just looking for ways to get into the world of investing but aren't sure how to start, then I genuinely think this video is for you because I'm going to share some extremely easy, actionable tips for you to get started, which is exactly what I did to start investing, grow, and learn as an investor and become successful at it, and most importantly, come to actually enjoying this journey.
It's showtime!
But real quick, a little bit about myself first. My name's Fred, and welcome to The Hobby. You might know me from my other YouTube channels, and I've actually been investing and learning about the stock market and other types of investments for the better part of the last decade. I currently have about $100,000 invested in the stock market, and my plan is to reach $1 million or more invested, including earning enough monthly dividend to live off of, and document my journey along the way while sharing with you many of my wins, losses, strategies, of which I already have a lot to tell from my experiences from the past few years, so definitely stay tuned for that. And although I am not any sort of financial advisor by any means, my mission is to still deliver as much value as I can, not only in terms of sharing my investing and trading experiences, but also how to really enjoy investing as a hobby, as I have, to make it a sustainable and genuinely exciting part of your lifestyle. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this journey and my passion with you guys, to hit these milestones together, and to grow along with you all. Going back to how I got started investing as a hobby, I actually grew up in a family that had been quite reserved in this respect, and thus with no one to really share their investing experience and wisdom with me other than to not risk my money unnecessarily. And because of that, I once found it very difficult to get into and wrap my head around investing in the stock market, and had no idea where to look to start building the foundation of knowledge I needed to invest confidently and with consistent results. But still, I knew that I had to manage my money better than just putting it in a savings account, which, by the way, assuming the average interest rate of a savings account is less than 2% annually, often doesn't even beat inflation, which is the devaluing of currency over time, which averages to about 2 to 3% per year and will tend to progress faster in a low interest environment such as right now. Due to inflation, for example, the average cost of a movie ticket in the US was only $6.41 in 2005 compared to $9.16 in 2019. And so I knew I had to do something with my money that was just sitting around in my savings account that I didn't need to spend right away. Out of the blue, things soon took a turn for me as I had found the catalyst I needed to blast off my investing career and actually turn it into a hobby that I avidly enjoy and learn new things in every day to this day. This all began when I was still in college, when one of my favorite things to do to pass the time was actually playing video games like League of Legends, World of Warcraft, and even Diablo 3, though most people would agree that it's not a great game. Initially, I had tried getting into investing in the stock market by following a website called the Motley Fool, which often threw out stock picks and predictions for companies I'd never even heard of, some of which I did trade. Fortunately, not for very long, because I literally was just buying stocks that I had no idea what their companies did, and I did not have any semblance of strategy or even a concept of when I should buy or sell a stock, what types of stocks I should be looking at, or even what a blue chip stock was. Obviously, I didn't have much success doing this, nor did I really understand what I was doing. But soon after, the catalyst that really allowed me to dive right into the world of investing was actually a video gaming convention called BlizzCon. You see, Blizzard Entertainment was and still is, now under its parent company Activision Blizzard, one of the largest and most influential gaming studios in existence, and BlizzCon, which happens during November of every year, except 2020 obviously, is when they would announce major updates and new games in their already popular franchises. So having dabbled just a little bit in the stock market by then, I naively thought it would be a good idea to buy Activision Blizzard stock right before the convention, wait for them to announce some new games which I thought would definitely raise their stock price, then sell right after to make a profit. So going ahead with my master plan, I went ahead and bought X shares of Activision stock, only to come out with a slight loss, even though there had indeed been new game announcements during the convention. But I didn't realize the concept of optimism already being expected and thus priced in even before these announcements, being the novice that I was. I was disappointed, sure, but this particular trade was special in many ways. It was the first time I had traded a stock by my own reasoning and initiative, and Activision Blizzard was actually a stock I could easily understand due to being a gamer, and I actually avidly followed the company's every move.
They must have no lives at all.
It might have been an overly naive trade, but it was one that got me into the world of investing, as I was able to channel my passion for gaming into learning more about the company, what the terms on its balance sheet meant, and eventually the gaming industry itself, which encompasses other stocks and companies that I then added to my watchlist and studied. For a while, ATVI was actually the only ticker I traded, but the more I did so, through both gains and losses, the more I learned about the various mechanics and workings of the overall stock market, which is also linked to factors such as overall economic conditions and politics, as I realized I needed to learn about all this and more in order to even trade this one company that I loved. And I even kept a spreadsheet for this one stock to not only keep track of my buys and sells and gains and losses, but also document and refine my strategies. Eventually, through trading and investing in a company and hobby I was very passionate about, I found myself becoming interested in other investing opportunities in the stock market and beyond. So I began watching and studying YouTube channels like Financial Education, Graham Stephan, and Ryan Scribner, as well as Investopedia for pretty much all the new terminology I came across, and found myself expanding into other investments and even experimenting with swing trading and day trading, especially with Robinhood making trading so accessible. And here I am today, investing as an actual hobby and having doubled my investments over the past few years. And so it turns out the most important key to succeeding as an investor is actually very simple, at least in my opinion, and that is, like with most other careers out there, genuine love and passion for what you do and always wanting to improve. In my case, it all started with me looking at and investing in the things that I loved, video games, and so I encourage you to do the same. Find a company or industry you're passionate about and use that to build a bridge between yourself and the world of investing. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be just the stock market. For example, Gary Vee himself has been investing in and advocating buying collectibles that you can easily understand and love, such as sports cards and Pokemon cards. In fact, some of the most coveted collectibles can easily garner higher percentage returns than stocks. Anyway, the point is to begin with something that you truly love and enjoy, and use that to build up a broader passion for investing.
I love gold!
And nowadays, with completely free apps like Robinhood and Webull, which by the way, if you sign up for using my links in the description, you'll actually receive one free stock in each of the brokerage accounts you sign up for. So you'll get one from Robinhood valued up to $500, and from Webull, once you make your first deposit of just at least $100, you can get a free stock valued up to $1,600. I think both brokerages are great. In fact, I do avidly use both to trade, and I'll actually release easy tutorials in the future for them as well. Now, once you've opened up at least one of these brokerage accounts, real quick before we go, I have a couple of power tips for you if you are just getting started with investing, and they have to do with how to get over or used to losses in investing. As in, you buy a stock and it dips, which is bound to happen sometimes. And so if you think you're one of those people who won't be able to sleep at night if your investments go down in value, the first tip I have for you is to initially focus on larger companies or so-called blue chip stocks, which already have a proven track record of consistent growth over time, and they must also be companies you genuinely like and believe in the long term, meaning that even if they undergo small short-term drops, these stocks you invest in should still be one of those companies that you have a lot of confidence will still end up growing and thus rise in price over the longer term of at least a few years. And the second power tip I have for you, especially if you want to try shorter term swing trading, is to start with paper trading, which is doing trading simulations instead of with real money. Webull does have such a feature which will allow you to practice and acclimate to losses, which ultimately aren't real losses. But if you think paper trading is not enough to simulate what it feels like to actually be in a losing trade, what you can do instead, and this is what I actually did myself at the start, is begin trading with real money, but only in very small dollar amounts of less than $100 in play at total at a time. And as for buying stocks you might be interested in that cost over $100, Robinhood actually has a feature called fractional shares, which as its name implies allows you to buy mere fractions of a stock, allowing you to own smaller pieces of stocks with higher share prices. And I'm not kidding. This strategy of trading with less than $100 is what allowed me to acclimate very well to both gains and losses, as both too much anxiety and too much hype are bad, and this combined with gradually increasing my total investment to a few $100s and more is what allowed me to go from almost losing sleep over minuscule losses to barely even flinching from losing or missing out on hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And with that, hopefully I provided a means for you to get started with investing as a hobby, along with a couple of tips that have worked for me to help you jumpstart this fun and surely very fruitful journey. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Remember to smash the like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.